I can handle it. I can do my own thing. I don't need anybody else's help. Everything's good. And you find out that no, it's okay to have other people help you. You don't need to go through things alone.
Welcome, welcome. I have the opportunity to have a special guest for me, Robert P. Jarvis. He's a criminal defense attorney, and I'm excited to have you here so you can share your story with all our audience. How are you doing, Robert?
Hello, Gilberto. Thanks for having me. We're doing great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I was able to talk to Robert before this meeting, and I know that he has really good insights that he can share with us. But his story, as anyone that owns a business, we know that we went or go through really hard things, and we need to keep going and being motivated all the time to be successful in our journey as an attorney. So tell us a little bit about your firm. What do you do? And after that, we can ask you the most important questions in this podcast.
All right. Well, I'm mainly a criminal defense attorney, but I like to say that we protect people. We help those people that have been accused of different things, and that's really what we do. So it's more than just criminal defense. It's protecting and helping, defending those that have been accused of things. And we generally help those that are in difficult positions. They're in a tough spot. So that's kind of what we do. We've been doing it for a while here in Mesa. We our firm just likes to help people, and that's kind of where we're in. And that's kind of where my story got me to, as to where we really care about people and care about their story, and present that to help them the best we can.
Nice. Wow, that's really nice. I think that I dream that everyone that owns business and attorneys always can think about, besides making the money, of course, has that vision of helping people, really helping people, because I think that I always said in my podcast that attorneys are psychologists as well. They really work hard in the mindset of their customers and clients. So, okay. So Robert, tell us something about your journey as an attorney, an event, a case, an experience that it was hard to went through, and how that experience helps you to reach your goals and be successful attorney like you are right now.
All right. Well, early on in the 2000s, we'd started and we were doing fairly well. We came up to around 2008. And, everybody kind of knows at the end of 2008, there was a big recession that started, right? And you would think that would be my story, but that's not. It actually, it started about the same time, but we were doing well. And then I found that I had a stroke, and I found myself in the hospital for a few days, and then rehab or rehabilitation for a few weeks. And it was during that time, that process, that things kind of changed, where the foundation to elevate me to the goals and the reasons why I do this kind of changed a little bit. I found myself in that center trying to get simple tasks back. But at the same time, I was in there with people, other people that had similar situations. I was probably one of the youngest, since I was about 43, 44 when that happened.
Oh, yeah,
it was a little early, a little young. Most everybody else in there that had had a stroke or some traumatic brain injury were older. But that, again, opened my eyes to the people around me. So I found myself actually helping those people kind of see some light, see some happiness, trying to bring them some joy as I went through my journey and trying to get myself back. And so when I was focusing on myself, I was brought to focus on other people. And that changed my perspective. That changed me from the inside. And as I went through that process, I also had many people that were helping me. My wife, my children, besides the personnel, the medical personnel, the physical therapists, occupational therapists. I ran into people that just were helping and were really good people. And I felt how important it was to receive that help, because up until that point, I was pretty much, I can handle it. I can do my own thing. I don't need anybody else's help. Everything's good. And you find out that no, it's okay to have other people help you. You don't need to go through things alone. And so that was another big part of that learning experience that brought me to where I am now. It really elevated me because it's a humbling experience, right? It is a humbling experience, an experience where you really have to take stock of where you're at and get rid of some of that pride. You can keep your confidence or build your confidence back up, which is important. But you get rid of that pride factor where it's only me.
Well, so that means that, well, as a person, that was a huge impact, and I love the way that you said, you realize that how important it is to help others, when we go through those hard experiences, our vision just amplify and we understand how important it is to help and serve others, like you mentioned. How this experience affects your firm?
So, first of all, the practice kind of stopped, right? And it took a while to get it back. But as the time went on and things progressed, and I did progress very, very quickly, which was very helpful and encouraging. In the firm, what it did is it changed our focus a little bit. First of all, I knew what it was like to be in a situation where I needed help, right? I needed to reach out and let someone else guide my process and guide me through what I was going through. And that was a feeling that I hadn't really had before. And so that was really interesting, because as I now looked at people coming to me, looking for that help, I had a better understanding of where they were coming from, right? I wanted to know their backstory. I wanted to know what led them to me through that process and that experience that they were in, what they were going through. In addition to that, it also it opened my eyes to where, no, I can do this. I can help them. I have this understanding of where they're at and what they need, not just the help on the legal side of things, but this is a whole process. This is their life, right? And so we look at things in a more global perspective. Let me put it that way. It's not just, okay, we're going to go in, we're doing this, legal problem, but we want to see, okay, how is this going to help you or hurt you in the future, right? This is your life, not just now, but this is going to be how is it going to be in the future? And so with that perspective, it changed our way of doing things a little bit regarding the firm, so we can gather more information, present more information, try to get it to where the people that come to us for help know that it's not going to be just a one-time in the office, see ya, and that's it. It's a more of a
So that helps you a lot to like you said, to share empathy and understand your clients and go deep, because there's a lot of feelings, involved in this transition and this transformation when we are in that journey. So
yeah. They're going through a lot of feelings, and it's nice to have the experiences that I've had to kind of understand, or to really understand where they're coming from, what the situation is. And instead of just talking to them, we actually reach our hands out and greet them and bring them in, and guide them through that process in a more full and holistic way.
It's nice. Well, now besides this kind of experience that most of us has different kinds of experience. Sometimes can be health, sometimes can be economical. Like the COVID, etc. I heard another attorney that he said that he has an issue too, that he need to hire another attorney. And for the first time, he was having the experience, of hiring an attorney and being the other side, of the bench, So showing empathy, like you said, I think is crucial for succeed in the law firm. Now, um, tell me how, or what things do you think, besides showing empathy and understanding your customers, what other things do you think that are helping you right now to be successful? Is there some information that you would like to share that you realize, oh my goodness, I start to do this and that helps me a lot to improve my business, like mentor, like softwares, like whatever do you think that is helping you right now in your business?
Well, I think over the years, what are the beneficial experience that I've had or things that I've learned come from me being a pro tem judge. I can't put that on my website. I can't, ethically, I can't say, hey, I'm a pro tem judge, come see me. But in an interview like this, I feel more comfortable saying, because that's an experience that's really, really helped me. In a pro tem judge, just to explain when a judge is sick or they're off on a vacation or they can't sit on the bench themselves or they can't handle their calendar for that day, they'll call another a contract attorney that sits in for them as a judge, a pro tem judge, temporary judge. And I've been doing that since 2007. And that part has given me an appreciation for what goes behind the scenes, what goes on behind the scenes, right, in the court. And also it is quite an experience to not be advocating one side or the other, but trying to understand both sides. And so the reason that's important is when I go into court, or our firm goes into court, or we're just even analyzing a case, one of the things that we think of that I think is important is, what does the judge want to hear? Right? What does the decider, either the judge or the jury, what do they want to hear? And that experience of being on the bench, I think, has brought me to a better understanding of that, because I see lawyers trying to present their side and to persuade the judge, and they're totally missing the mark, right? And sometimes, as a good attorney, you can look up and you can see the judge just kind of checking out a little bit, or they go a different way. And it's important to know, what does the judge need to hear and want to hear to help them make the decisions they need to make. And that experience, I think, is one of the greatest things I've had.
Wow, that's a really good insight. So that's everyone that is listening, all the attorneys that are listening here. I think that point of view is crucial. So okay, so like you said, we need to understand the customers, but we need to understand and see how the system works and how we can deal with the judge as well. I had the opportunity to talk to a judge in Florence, Arizona, and he was telling me, I don't know how many attorneys every single day, and I see all the kind of attorneys, and I see good things, bad things, and he says it's hard, it's a little really hard. People, attorneys that they think that they are the best in the world and they are not. Humble attorneys that are doing so good. That I see in everything he says.
So even as the judge, you understand that, when I get on the bench, I feel the weight of the decision making. You feel the weight of the decision making, and as an attorney, it's important to know that for the most part, I mean, we may not see eye to eye with the judge, or our argument or what we're trying to present doesn't necessarily see eye to eye with the judge. But it's important to know that they really are trying to do what's right. They are trying to follow the law, and so we don't want to make it personal, as far as, what we're doing, and trying to obtain the solution or the resolution that we think is best. We don't want to make it personal. Yes, we need to be comfortable. Yes, we need to be personable, but we don't make it personal, either between the attorneys or the attorney and the judge, and keep that professional aspect to everything, knowing this is what we need to do. So it's that type of thing that helps us in the courtroom, helps us even with motions and in hearings, to get the best resolution for our clients, those that come to us for help.
So, okay, Robert, this is a good question. Everybody, please listen about this and tell me what do you think. So, I saw in movies, I have friends that they think that the ones that really talks nice and are outgoing, they can be good attorneys. So you see this guy that is a talker and he's asking questions, he's outgoing, says, "Oh, you can be a good attorney." So we think that because they are talking a lot and they are good in talking and that can be a good attorney. But I have friends that are calm and they're really successful attorneys. So I remember when you watch the movies, you think, in the movies, you think, the best attorneys are the ones that are so outgoing and smiling and so friendly and all those type of things. But I realized after I interview other attorneys, and I have friends that are attorneys as well, that I have good friends that they are attorneys, but they're calm. They are not these kind of people that dominate the room when they just get in. So what's your view about this? If you because I know I was talking with an attorney. He says, "Gilberto, I just go to law school because I want to make money. I want to have a nice house." They didn't know exactly what's gonna be this kind of journey as an attorney. They just have it in their mind. I want to be an attorney because I see all the other attorneys have nice houses. They have a good presence. They have nice cars. And I talked with a couple of them and says, "Yeah, that's the reason I just jumped in to study law." But can you tell me a little bit about that paradigm that we have, that an attorney need to be a nice guy, that need to be outgoing, and how so other attorneys that are listening to me right now that they think I'm not really outgoing, but still successful, what is your point of view of that?
Well, being an attorney is a performance. And so the first part is getting all the skills, building up all the skills necessary to have that, getting all the tools necessary to be able to put forth our best performance, right? Part of that is also knowing when and how to perform it, right? What character we are, what's our personality, what do we want to do, and whether you are in trial, a trial attorney, or you're writing the scripts, so to speak, in contracts and motions and that sort of thing. It's important to play the part. Now, as we learn those skills and tools, we become part of that. I think that's one of the things that we do. And so you'll see the different personalities and different performances, as it were. I was in a trial, a DUI trial, and I talked to the jury afterwards, and they made a comment to me about my style in the courtroom. And I don't know, the young attorneys and young people won't remember this, but there used to be a TV show called Columbo. It was a detective show. And one of the things Columbo did is that he would ask a few questions and kind of set the stage to the person. And then he would say, okay, that's it. And he would start to walk away and he'd turn around and say, oh, one more thing. And then he would ask the really important question. And that ended up being kind of my style in trial. And that's what they were commenting on. So it was kind of an interesting thing, but we all get that type of personality. So it has to be comfortable within us, but it's not always good to be not necessarily brash, but loud. It's sometimes very much more effective to be calm. You're looking for the right moments. You're looking for this, and sometimes it takes it takes the increased volume or increased animation, as it is in the courtroom. Sometimes it's when we're writing, it requires a different style, and that's what's important, is that we are addressing the moment in our performance. And the more tools and skills that we gather, the better we're able to do that. So it's not necessarily about being this type of person, although that does evolve around the tools and skills that we get.
Nice. Is there any advice that you want to share with the ones that just graduated, and like you mentioned me before the interview about mentorship. You have an attorney, and I said everyone that is when we are doing the podcast is if you want to mention the name of the mentor, do it, because he did something good for you. So you mentioned that you had an attorney that you learned a lot from him. So what would be an advice, for the young attorneys that just graduate and they are just starting to work in a firm? Any advice that you can share?
Well, I kind of mentioned the skills and the tools and gathering those. And I think one of the most important tools that we have are the rules. And if we don't know the rules, then we can't really be effective in whatever we're doing, whether we're writing or in the courtroom, whatever it may be. And so the rules of evidence, the rules of procedure, it's important to really get to know those, so we have them available to us whenever we need them, to be able to bring them out. These days, we can always do a little research on the fly, but it's more important to really have those in our nature, ready to use them whenever we need to. So that's, I think, one of the really most important things, for us, both young and old, that we continue to get those skills.
So I would say I think that attorneys are psychologists as well, because what do you do that everybody can hear and feel empathy, about how do you work with the mindset that your customers need to have when they are struggling? Because when someone comes to you, they are struggling mentally sometimes, most of the time. They are with a lot of emotions, and because they don't know the law, they don't know what exactly is going to happen. So essentially, we search for attorneys that understand the law to help us, to understand the law and to have a good uh, outcomes, or results from the problems that we have. So how do you handle that? How do you handle the feelings and the mindset? You shared that you trying to ask questions to understand everything, but after you understand everything, what else do you do in your firm to help the people to be more calm and safe?
Well, I think that one of the most important things that we do is to instill hope. So whatever situation the people are in, yes, they need help. They're struggling. They're struggling trying to understand, and they have this process that's put in their face. There's always hope, and I think that's one of the really important things that we all need, right? But somebody that comes to us, they need to know, and this is what we try to do, to try to let them know that we're there to help them, and whatever happens, they can have hope that everything will be all right. Eventually, everything will be okay. And so that hope is something that I've seen it change people just in the office when I first meet with them. They'll come and they're visibly troubled, right? And by the time that we get done talking and conversing about what they have, they're breathing at the end, right? They're not holding their breath anymore. They are thankful that we were there to help them, because now they have hope that everything will be okay.
Tell us, how do you balance your personal life in your life as a professional? What are the key that can help you to succeed? Because I know that it's tricky, for any business owners and an attorney.
Well, as an attorney, we're an attorney 24/7, and depending upon what practice you're in, it may be more difficult or a little easier to manage the time. As a criminal defense attorney, or those that are protecting people, things happen all the time, right? It's not just in the middle of the day, it's in the middle of the night or in the early morning hours, and those calls come. To balance that out, I think it's important to realize that you can take time and still get to the things you need to get to, right? Is that if you're going 24/7, you're going to get burned out, and it's just going to be a real tough, ingratiating time where it's just going to wear on you, and then you're not having fun. And I am a big proponent of having fun in what we do. We should enjoy the practice of law. We should enjoy the people that we're dealing with, the court, and whatever we're doing. So if we can take time out during the day, take time out when we can't for ourselves, to balance that the busy time of the firm, and take time out for relationships, whatever they may be. I think being around other people and not watching the legal shows on TV, but actually spending time away from that, just cutting off the legal side and enjoying those relationships that we have, and sometimes just being ourselves. I mean, I like taking a walk every once in a while, or if I'm in an area, I like just to sit down and I'm a people watcher.
How the walk? Tell me how the walk just help you.
So for example, I was up in Prescott in the court up there, and I got done with what I needed to do, and instead of just hopping in the car and driving back and thinking about the case and the new cases and all of that, I walked around the park there by the courthouse. I went in and to the different restaurants there just to talk to people. Yeah, I ate lunch at one of them, which was a great place, but just to talk to people. And what it does is it just kind of puts things more in perspective, that I'm still a person. I still am, I have many facets to my life, and this legal facet is not what's controlling me. And so as I walk, I'm just enjoying people, nature, architecture. For me, it's calming, and it gets my mind off the legal side of things for a while.
Oh, wow, that's really nice. I realized that my wife pushed me to go and walk in the mornings, and how, like you said, being in contact with the nature, it really touched my mind, and when we were walking, and I want to start to talk about work, I say, no work for now. Let's talk about family. Let's talk about all the things, and let's talk about your country, my country. And I realized, oh, okay, yeah, and that is just intentionally give me a break of all the thing that I have in my mind. Sometimes we can come back from work, but our mind is still working and paying attention about things about our work. So I like.
I had a very intelligent mentor of mine a while back, a long time ago, when I was in my early 20s, maybe 20, 21. And he told me that it's important to, when you are doing the task, to be sharp and go all in and do your best. But he gave the analogy of making a sword. If you're making a sword, the stillsmith is hammering it, and it's in hammering and put it in the fire. You stoke the fire again. It's getting red hot to be molded and made. But then you take the sword and you put it in water and you cool it off, and it tempers the steel. And then through that process, you're able to get the sharpest and best sword there is. And he said that water is the time off. Yeah, you can be in the fire and you can be red hot and you can just be going on and on and on, but you've got to take the time to get in the water or temper and have that balance. And that's how you get your sharpest self. So that was really good advice back then.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing this, Robert. I think that I will finish with that thought. I think that's a beautiful example, or parable, that we can remember. So remember, guys, we are like a sword. We are in the fire all the time, working hard, doing our best, but intentionally, eventually, we need to go through the water and take a break, and that can help us, to be sharp. Thank you for your time, Robert. I really appreciate that you made this time to talk to us and share with us your story, and give us some insights. Is there something else they want to add? Any advice they want to share with business owners? Before we go, something that comes to your mind, and especially for the ones that are struggling and working hard and trying to see the light in the end of the tunnel, and they don't see it, but they, is there something they want to share before we finish?
I think the last bit of thing that's come to mind is take the time to do the things that you want to do and need to do. And sometimes we get overwhelmed because we're working on one project and one project and one project, and these other things start building up on the side, and we look over and then there are mountains, and we're like, how am I ever going to take care of those? But if we take the 15 minutes to deal with this, and then the 15 minutes to deal with this, and the 15 minutes to deal with this, understanding that, eventually we'll get everything done and everything will be okay, and there's always tomorrow. So I think that's important.
Well, Robert, thank you. Like always, thank you for being with us, and always is a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank
So I really appreciate that you made this time, and thank you very much. And we
Thank you.
we will be in touch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching and listening. If you're an attorney with your own law firm, we know you have valuable experiences to share. Reach out to us. We'd love to interview you and bring your story to life on our show to inspire others attorneys in their journey.